Hey everyone, it's Natalie here, and today we are going to be doing a very simple and easy makeup tutorial. This is really great for when I'm on the go and when I want something quick and easy to do in the morning. So if you want to see how it's done, just stay tuned and we'll get right into it. Firstly, we're going to start with my face. And if your skin is anything like mine, the transition from winter into spring and fall into winter is terrible for my skin. It just doesn't behave how I want it to, and it gets a bunch of red, irritated bumps all the time, and I can't stand it. So to correct that, we are going to use the Bare Minerals Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream. To be honest, it's not really great at covering anything up, but that's kind of what I like about it because it has good SPF, and I really like the natural dewy glow. So even if that means that my flaws are shown a little bit more, I'm willing to accept that because they go away eventually. And you know what, we all have flaws, so whatever. I just kind of dab it onto my face in lines rather than dots because I don't want to have to spread a lot of my product. More than anything, I just want to blend it in, and I think that helps prevent your brush from absorbing all your product, because if you're just dabbing it into these huge dots, then there's more likelihood that your brush will absorb it rather than put it on your face nicely. And to blend it out, I am using a Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. I really like this brush and I think it does a great job. Now that my face is all done, I don't set it with anything, so I'm going to go straight into contour. And I don't set it because I don't really want to mattify my dewy look. For my contour, I make a little fishy face, kind of, sort of. I already know where my contour is going to go, so I don't necessarily always do that. And I use the Naked Streak palette, and I take the bronzer that's in that palette. So if your face is anything like mine, I have a super circular face that I find a little tricky to contour, and I think this is the best way I found to do it. I kind of suck my cheeks in, and I don't always make that little face, and I start by brushing it down the back, and I usually aim for the top of my ear and down to the corner of my mouth, but I don't go all the way down. So as you can see here, I really heavily concentrate it in the back, and then whatever left, I just kind of pull forward. And I think that looks the most natural because I focus more of my bronzer on the back end of my cheek and down my jawline, and that's in order to make it look like I have more of a profile, because with round faces I find it really hard to kind of get a nice profile. Sometimes you just gotta fake it until you make it, and I think this definitely does help a lot because when you look at me straight on, because I focus my bronzer so heavily in the back, it looks sharper rather than really round. I think another tip I would have for trying to contour a round face is to use something that's pretty matte and not shimmery, because I feel like the more shimmery it is, the more noticeable it looks and the less it looks like you're born with it, rather than when I use this particular bronzer, it's very matte and kind of less noticeable, and that's what I like about it because it makes it look like it's natural and was supposed to be there. Next, I go in with my highlight and I make little C shapes under my eyes, and for now I'm using Benefit's High Beam. It blends out beautifully, and it's that perfect iridescent glow that I really like, that looks really natural and dewy, and I use my fingers to blend it out and under my eyes and not upwards. And I do this right above the apples of my cheek, and I really think it also helps to make my face look very defined and give me those fake cheekbones that I very obviously do not have. So now that we are done with the highlight, I am going to fix my bronzer because I thought I wanted to blend it out a little more, and then we are going to move on to the cheeks. And for the cheeks, we are going to use Nars' Orgasm. I think it's a cult favorite for everyone, and I really like it because it's really subtle. I simply smile, I use a fluffy blush brush, and then I brush it onto the apples of my cheek. I try to go from the front of my cheek or from the back of my cheek to the front, because I think this makes it look a little more natural rather than, two really big, bright chunks of blush right on my cheek. And then I suddenly make a really weird face because someone had called me and I was really surprised, and it just caught me off guard. So anyways, we are going to prime my eyelids with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. For some reason, I have the anti-aging formula. I'm not sure why. I honestly didn't even notice that it was the anti-aging one until I looked at it one day and I was like, oh. But I guess, premature wrinkle fighting can never hurt, right? We are going to choose a transition shade, and the one I'm using is Frisk from the Naked 2 palette. I really, really like this color because I think that whenever I choose a transition shade, I always go for one shade lighter than my crease shade. And I do this because it's easier to transition a color or to blend out a color when you are putting it dark on top of light rather than trying to get a lighter shade and fix a dark one. So now that I've got my transition shade in place, I'm going to choose the All Over Eyelid shade, and that's going to be Skimp from the Naked2 Basics palette. What I really like about this color is that it helps to provide a good base for the eyeshadows that I'm going to put on top really stand out, because my eyelids tend to be a little bit dark, and I think this helps a lot in kind of allowing my colors to have good pigmentation. For the other shade that I'm going to put on top of that, I'm going to use Honey Pot. Honey Pot is one of my favorite colors. It's a beautiful, beautiful golden bronze, and it has a little bit of fallout, so I'd be careful. It's very shimmery, and I'm really careful about patting it onto my eyelids rather than swiping it back and forth. So that goes onto the sort of meat of my eyelids, right in the middle, and I just pat it on gently until I get the desired color, or I just build it up as much as I want until I get a really pretty looking shimmer there. And now that that's done, I'm going to take this color called Push Up from the same palette, and I'm going to make a V shape, if that makes sense. So as you can see here, I kind of go from the, I guess like the area where I would do my eyeliner, so right on top of my eyelashes, I make a little line there, I bring it out, and then I go straight into my crease. And I do that because I really like to define the outer V of my eyes, and I don't bring that color all the way in on the eyelid though. So as you can see, on my eyelid, right above my eyelashes, I just kind of bring it in halfway, and we're going to do that on the other eye as well. And after I've got that, I'm going to take this color called Espresso, and in that V that I've made on my eyelid, I'm going to fill the corners of that V in. So I just kind of take that same brush and I just kind of fill in just that little edge, and I really like how this helps to darken my eyelid a little without making it seem too overpowering or smoky, because we still have Honey Pot right in the middle that helps kind of brighten and lighten everything up. I just really do this to add a little bit of definition since I'm not doing an eyeliner, but yeah, nothing too fancy. So this is where those transition shades really come in. I use them to blend out everything, and I mix two colors, so Cover and then that same shade that we used earlier, Frisk, and I just kind of blend out the edges of my eyelids so that everything looks seamless and really well blended. And yeah, blending is such an important step in any kind of eye look, and I know that some people may get lazy with it, but it really sets a difference for changing how cohesive your makeup looks. Last but not least, I'm going to take Strange from the Naked 3 palette, and I'm going to put it on a small brush, and that's going to be my inner corner highlight. I don't know why I made that face. I think I had too much stuff on the brush. But so very lightly, I'm going to dab that in the corners, and I'm going to bring it in ever so slightly across my eyelid, but not too far in. After I've got my inner corner highlight on both eyes, I'm going to go in and define my bottom lash line. I'm going to use a small smudge brush and take Push Up, that same color from the Too Faced palette, and just kind of rub it in about 1/2 or 1/4 of the way in on my eyelids. And I think this really just adds like nice definition and kind of helps make my bottom lashes look a little darker. Then I'm going to take my NYX Jumbo pencil in Yogurt, and that's going to be my bottom lash inner corner highlight kind of. This color is really sparkly and really white, so I take my finger and kind of pat it out a little so it looks less harsh and more natural, because I just want a soft glow from there. To complete this eye look, we're just going to add a little bit of mascara. The eyelash curler that I use isn't anything special, to be honest. I just kind of found it in my mom's drawer, and if you see me swaying my head, it's because I was listening to music in the background, and I guess I was just really feeling it. The mascara I use is Maybelline's The Falsies. I really like it. I think it does a great job of separating my lashes and adding length, and my lashes could honestly use all the help they can get in the length department. And if you notice, we're not going to do brows, which I know is kind of crazy because brows make such a difference, but honestly my brows are so dark that I feel like if I filled them in it would just look too unnatural. So I just make sure that they're really well groomed all the time. And I think it works well for me because I really like the way they look and I love the straight brow look right now. Last but not least, we are going to move on to the lips. The color I'm using is MAC's Velvet Teddy, and honestly, I'm sure we've all heard about it, but I cannot rave enough about this color. It's grown to be my favorite lipstick of all time, and I love it because it's just so versatile and easy to use. It's a beautiful, like, nude color almost, and it smells divine, which I wasn't expecting at all. It applies like a dream. It doesn't really stick to any like rough patches on my lips, but I always make sure to exfoliate a little before I use it, and I really, really like it. It's perfect enough for, I think, business, but at the same time, I kind of wear it on an everyday basis because I just love how put together it makes me feel. And this is kind of weird, but I feel like my lips aren't really well defined enough for lipstick, so I like that this color is really forgiving. You don't have to be super precise with it. But if you do want to, you can of course go in and use a pencil brush, which is what I'm doing now. So whenever I do my lipstick, I just kind of fill as much as I can or as much as I think will look good without going outside of the like lines of my lip, and then I take a lip brush and I kind of really, really fine tune it and like make it perfect. And I think this just helps me make less mistakes, and I like the look that this gives me. Now that my lips are all done, that means we are all done, and I really hope this tutorial has helped a lot. I hope you got some good tips out of it, and I really want to see if anyone else recreates this, so if you could tweet us or Instagram us, we would be so excited. Thanks, love you guys so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye!